Transnet Management and the United National Transport Union, Untu, are meeting at the Transnet Bargaining Council to try bridge a wage impasse at the entity under the facilitation of the CCMA. Untu is a majority union at Transnet and declared a dispute with the Commission for Conciliation, Mediation and Arbitration, the CCMA, rejecting a wage settlement signed for minority union at the entity Satawu. Satawu members at Transnet have signed the offer of 17.5%, which will result in salary increases of 6% in the first and second years and 5.5% in the final year. SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi is at the Bargaining Council and joins us live. Good afternoon, Katlego. What's been happening there? Any nearer to reaching some sort of agreement?
A very good afternoon to you, Juliet, and of course to our viewers at home. You find us, of course, this afternoon at the Transnet Bargaining Council. This as we continue just to observe what has been happening behind us. The closed session here facilitated by the CCMA. We find ourselves here because Untu, the majority union there at Transnet, boasting about 26,000 workers there, have declared a dispute of mutual interest, approaching the CCMA to intervene regarding a wage dispute with the employer. If I can take you back to the year 2022, we saw members of Untu, Satawu, workers there at Transnet downing tools over a wage dispute. And here we find the CCMA trying by all means to avert that strike action that we hear would be disastrous to the economy. Around that time when this strike took place, Juliet, we saw the economy losing about 1 billion rand a day as we saw workers continue with their demonstrations. Satawu has already signed for this 17.5%. Untu as the majority union, they have reservations and their workers have mandated them, or their members have mandated them not to sign for that offer, putting a brake on that particular process that we see playing out at Transnet. But here we find the Transnet management, they're here. We find also the Untu delegation just looking into ensuring that they present their case. The CCMA is also here facilitating this particular process, hoping that for this day, it's been set down for one day, that hopefully at the end of today we'll get somewhat of a resolution here that will see these parties finding each other. But the man that is privy to what is happening behind us would be Kobus van Vuren, who'll just join us this afternoon to just give us a sense of what has been happening there. I mean, we see you coming out, you caucus, you go back in, and one wonders as to the conversations that are being had there behind closed doors. We know that you're all looking to ensure that when you leave here, there's somewhat of a resolution or an indication of how then you move as the union that approached the CCMA regarding this particular process. Welcome to the SABC. What is happening behind us, and also how do we find ourselves here?
Hi, Katlego, and good afternoon to the viewers. So today's process is all about trying to come to an amicable solution for both the sake of the Transnet employees, Transnet, and also the economy as large. So during the 2022 strike, we ended up in the same kind of process that we are now. And during that time, the country faced about 8 billion rand loss in the economy every day. So today's discussion is to try and get the parties closer together, try and find a way to prevent industrial action from happening. But the only way to do that is by getting a reasonable offer that we can take back to our members for a mandating process, taking into consideration the VAT hikes, electricity hikes, and also naturally everything that is happening in the macro environment, where we see tariffs coming through, and we know what kind of effect that is going to have on the economy and also the CPI at large.
Yeah, what becomes the issue? Because Kobus, when one is looking at that offer, it's attractive, 17.5% in this day and age. One would look at it and just see it as something that will be welcomed by the workers. But we see you taking issue with certain conditions attached to that agreement, and even saying that it's a rollover of some sort from the 2022 agreement. Nothing has changed. Maybe take us through your issues and how we find ourselves here.
All right, by calling the offer a 17.5% increase is misleading. You have to divide that by 3 because it's a 3-year agreement. Then you have to take the VAT into effect, which is not taken into effect in this offer. Then you have to take the electricity increase into consideration, which is also not in this offer, captured in this offer. Further to that, you have to take tax into consideration. So in the end, you're looking at an increase, a net increase in people's salary of less than 4%. So by calling it 17.5, you need to look at what the actual numbers are. And the actual numbers are way below the 6% that they've offered. Well, 6% what they say on the offer, but take everything down that is supposed to be coming off there, and you'll end up on a net increase offer of less than 4%.
What do you want, as a union here? Because, again, you're also worried about the restructuring process that is taking place there at Transnet, that you are worried that it leaves your members compromised. Maybe give us a sense of what would make you happy, when you leave this bargaining process, and something that would be satisfactory, that would see this impasse a thing of the past.
Look, while the process is still ongoing, we can't come up with a specific percentage. We have to take that percentage, whatever it is, back to our members. However, one of the most important things for us is the non-retrenchment of employees. We know that PSPs is coming into Transnet. We know when private sector comes into the business, naturally there is restructuring, and the non-retrenchment is so important because our people need their jobs. We cannot afford to shed any more jobs in our current economy. Unexpanded rate of over 40%, youth unemployment rate of over 60%. We cannot, with the PSPs coming in, risk any more job losses. So the job retention is of crucial importance to us.
Before we let you go, Kobus, so you can continue with this bargaining behind us, a strike action, is it something that is on the cards? Are your members raring and ready to go, looking at the fact that they haven't been happy, and I'm not taking kind, to at least Satawu moving to sign that particular wage offer from the employer? What are they saying to you, especially when you are coming into this process? You get a sense that they really are looking at taking to the streets if indeed then you don't find each other here.
Absolutely. We've been engaging with our members over the last 2 weeks, and the feeling on the ground is that they do need an offer from Transnet that is commensurate with the actual increase of living. The food basket, all of that increasing with over 10%. So our members are behind us. Our members are ready to take the fight to the streets, and we are there to support and lead them. Unless Transnet comes up with a reasonable offer that takes into consideration all the factors that you need to consider, VAT, tariffs, food basket increase, and all of those things. We will engage our members, and if they mandate us, we will go on industrial action.
3 years, 1 year?
We are still busy in the process, so we are looking at various different opportunities on how to come to an amicable solution. How that solution is going to look in the end, it is too early to say, but we hope that we can find an amicable solution.
Awesome. Kobus, thank you very much for your time. Kobus van Vuren just coming through here, giving us a sense of what is happening behind us, and you find the employer also here presenting their case. We're hoping that at the end of the day, we'll get a sense of how then these parties move here. But you hear both of them in agreement that a strike action would be disastrous for the entity that is trying to pick up the pieces. So we wait then, Juliet, to see how then the CCMA moves in terms of their resolution here. But failure to these parties finding each other, there will be a 14-day process in terms of how then this union will take this matter, and the employer will take these matters back to their captains, and then hopefully then we'll get a sense of how they move beyond this particular process facilitated by the CCMA. Juliet?
Thanks very much for that update, and of course we'll keep a close eye on that story.